Okay, so welcome back. This is part two of doing hoop earrings. So I did do the other ones, but this is what I'm working on right now. So you can see it does have blue in it and the fire colors with the cyan pink, this odd color, ruby red, AB, and turquoise in the middle, teal. It does mirror, it does meet in the middle here. And this is all 13s Charlotte cut beads. So the last video we did do the wrap on this, so I'll jump right into it from here. I'll be using double thread on my needle. I'm not using a glover for this. You could use it if you're using bigger beads, such as 11s and 10s. If you're doing the same process, you can use a actual beading needle for the process. But anywho, we're going to start here and work our way down from here. So double needle, size 12, long. Don't make Glovers a size for these beads. So I start from the middle and push my way through. You're going to need a needle nose pliers. I do have one with the smooth ends. I had this for years. I have no idea where I got it from. But anywho, I did start quite like an 1/8 inch from the top. I'm not starting right at the edge, just because you have to leave a little space there for your beadwork. And make sure there's enough leather or buckskin there for it not to roll over and go over the edge. So with this, I'm trying to go within the center here, all the way around on both sides. I'm just eyeballing here, but if you want, you can get yourself a pencil here and run it here. Just put your finger across it and just give yourself a little line to mark on both sides. Or something that will leave a mark on it that can be easily removed from the buckskin or whatever material you're using to wrap around your earring. So I'll pull it across and into here so you can't see the knot. It's actually right there. So I pull it across, make sure there's enough thread. With this process, you need to figure out how many beads you need to go across your leather. What for me are your buckskin? For me, I'm actually just need 8 beads. That's how many I've been using, and that's how many I'm going to use. So I started here. I do pull it across and make sure it's enough spacing for it. So you can see there's 8 beads. Let me pull it across. So 3 and 3 and 2, 8 beads. So here it's roughly in the middle here. Pull it across and go like that. So it's like I said, leave it space from the top so it doesn't roll over onto this like that. So that one's kind of loose there. So kind of push that down, run the beads over it so you want to see that. Then run it roughly from the midpoint and push through. I'm not pushing directly in it, I'm kind of pushing at an angle. I'll kind of show you. So you see it. I'm actually going from that point in and just catching the top part of the buckskin. So I'm not going into the center part here. I'm just catching the edge from here on top of it, running towards the center here. Your center line. So it pops up. Once it pops through, just pull it. I do hold it here because it does tend to wind and twist. So I hold my thread, make sure everything's there, make sure it's even. I figure got caught. And pull it ever so. Don't tighten it just yet because you want to make sure your beads are in the place you want to be. Then hold it down and pull tight. Both sides. And you see, there's very little movement. Trust me, it doesn't move. If your needle was to break, then you have to kind of cut your needle off and re-thread everything. But if you're using bigger beads, you can. So with this part here, once I'm doing the next row, I'm not going right next to it. I'm leaving a little space. See, there's like a half a bead space between it. And I am going a little lower than the bead itself. Ouch. Be careful not to poke yourself like I did. Ouch. But anywho. pull it through. I do hold my thread so everything does run through a little smoother. Then I'm going to take another 8 beads. Make sure you're consistent with your bead count. Here, if you're using 5, using 3, however much you're using, make sure it's the same. And I'll get your pattern effect just right. So 8 and 8 are 4 and 4. Just make sure it's 8 that you're counting. And before you tack down your beads, make sure you look at it like this, just so that you know your pattern's right. I got 2 solid blue colors, this blue iris and 13. And when I go through, I am going a little lower than it's. I'm not starting like right there where the bead is. I'm actually going pretty lower because when you tighten it, it actually squeezes the leather again, or the buckskin. I keep calling it leather, but squeezes the buckskin. I'm using, like I said, my pliers for this. And like I said, before you tighten it down, actually just go through, look at your thread so you can see on mine. The thread there is not really tight, so I'm going to pull the one that's not tight. Actually, kind of open this back up. So lift it back up so then it's both even, and then you can pull it a little bit at the same time. And you can align it to where you need to be. So where you need it, set it, hold it, squeeze, and then tighten. So then when you tighten it, it squeezes down and it clamps the bead onto the buckskin and holds it in place. So now I can do my next row. I'm going from the center and going back out. So be patient. You have a thimble. Use your thimble here. Use whatever you have to your fingers. My fingers are chewed up, but I do this quite often, so I have some pretty tough hands. So pull it tight. So with this, if you have the two-sided and you want to mirror it, make sure your pieces are both the same and make sure that you're starting from the right side. So I'm going to do 7 of the blue and 1 white. Adding 1 bead on per row as I need. So 3 and 4 is 7. Like I said, I'm using 8 beads per row on this. And put it through. Make sure your needle is spaced out too from the side. So I'm always going about roughly half to 1 bead over. I'm not starting right next to it because if I do it next to it, I want to push the beads across. So when I have enough spacing away from your bead that it's not going to want to bundle or bunch up. I mean, you're not going to get your line exactly perfect here on the sides. Unless you're using like Dalicas or some really uniform beads, then you're going to get it exactly the same. So you can see on my line's not really uniform. It's kind of not rigid on the sides. But the pattern here, if you look straight on, it's pretty straight, pretty good. But I am using seed beads, Charlotte cut seed beads for what I'm doing. If you're using Dalicas, it's a little more easier because the beads are more uniform. If you're using my Dalicas, my Yuccas are what's called Toho beads. They're more uniform than seed beads. So, if you want to do this, make it look nice, use, I would say my Yuccas because they're more round. The beads are. Unlike Dalicas, they are more square and they can cut your beads. So my Yuccas, I was just. Plus, it's. Let me actually show you a couple of them. I have a few of them right here. So that's lime green. You get these neon colors, you get some really nice colors from it. And you can see they are uniform with slightly irregularities, but not too much. So you can get a really nice smooth square pattern. It has a round edge, so it's not going to cut your beads as you tighten down. So the name of it is, it's Japanese Mayukas right there. So if you want to look for it, you can look for it. This whole tube cost me $9, so you can look online, just look up for Mayukas, look up 15s, and they're the same size as the 13s. So you can get multiple colors like hot pink. See, 15 Mayukas, luminescent hot pink. So you can get really bright colors, you can get matte blacks, you can get neons, you can get luminescent, you can get glow in the dark. So you can really be creative with this process. So I'm going to go along and try to get down a little further, and I'll be back to show you the result. I'll actually get down to the center here, and I'll show you what I do when I get to roughly in the thread, and I can show you how I can attach more thread. So I'll be back. Okay, so I managed to get halfway through this one side. I didn't get all the way down to the center yet, just because, as you can see, it's kind of right there a little bit. I mean, if you're doing this for the first time and you just have the one side, you can just go and stop roughly near the bottom here, which I'm going to do. I'm going to stop right here. Just secure it by actually sewing through the middle of it. Not going through the sides too much, but just sewing it back and forth because the tension of the buckskin and needle will hold it in place without having to put a knot. So I'm going to go back and forth roughly 2 or 3 times. Probably 4, just because. I'm not going to pull too tight, because if I pull too tight, it's going to tear out. You can kind of hurt. You heard one of them pop out, pop a stitch. So I'm just kind of holding it here just to give it some tension on the thread to hold in place. So just like so. And like that. Then I can go and just trim it flush and call it good. Since here I don't really know where I'm going to be meeting up with this, I'm just going to start here and work my way backwards. If you feel confident enough, you can keep going and keep working with your design. Or if your design just keeps spiraling, then just do that spiral design. If not, then you can get yourself a tape measure and measure it. Or if you happen to have one of these soft measuring tapes or tailor tapes, I don't know what you call them, sewing tapes, you can take it here and measure around, find your whole midway point, and figure out that it's 2 1/4. Then hold it and mark it in 2 1/4. So right there, I'm roughly at the middle of that piece. So I'm going to start here and work my way down, see if I meet up in the middle. So then if you have that, you mark it, get both sides done and mark them both. So then you have the same starting point and similarity point. I think this one's a little smaller, as you can see. One side's bigger, one side smaller. So there might be irregularities in your piece, so be aware of that. So let me go through and restart from here, just like I did here, and work my way down. And once I get to the end here, let's see how it meets up. And just like I did secured here, is the same way you want to secure at the end here. If you work your way up to the end, just work your way backwards and secure underneath the piece and trim it flat. But I'll get to that once I get down here. So let me get back to this. It was actually took me about 45 minutes to do this one side, so it'll probably take another 45 minutes. So this is taking me a bit longer than I want to. Actually, an hour now. So another hour I should be done. It's about, this piece took me about 3 hours to do now. So you can get them done. Get them done in a day. Just be patient. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so now I come to the final conclusion of this thing. So I did go back from the other side, and I think it was this side, and came down. I tried to make it as tight as I could, but as you can see, there's 2 rows here and 1 row here. It's kind of off, but it's fine. It works for what it's intended for, and has enough space in the for my last set of beads to meet up. So we know if it's not right, 1 row off, it's not the end of the world. It will do. Even though I'm not perfect 100% of the time. So just gotta make do with what you got. So like I said, every time you get your piece done, make sure you, or before you final tighten it down, you get it centered where you want it, hold it down, and then pull, and then it'll lock in place. So here you can see the two together. I mean, you can see the slight difference, but it's not really much. And if you bring it this way here, it's pretty much spot on. I mean, not too bad, not too, well, it works. So anyways, once you get to here and you have this extra, all I do is sew it back in like I did to the rest of it. Just underneath the buckskin, trying to go between the beads here. Pull across, pull it tight. And then I don't want to be making a big gap in between. I just want to do a small stitch over to the side. And just pull it through. You may get caught on your beads here and there, but just work it back and forth. So you can see the small little sew tack, and if I tighten up a little more, it actually kind of disappears even more. So I'll do that back and forth. The friction from being underneath the buckskin will hold it in place. So here, pull it through, pull it tight every single time I go through, and do it over again. My needle has seen better days, but it's a trooper. It's been through quite a bit of projects, especially this one because it's sewing through everything. And make sure when you're doing this, make sure you're not passing through a bead. Lie down there, I'm passing through the bead. You can see it, because you don't want to pass through a bead and be trying to tighten down that bead, because I'll twist your bead on you. So now, since I got this, I'll do one more tack, or this final direction. Oh, this needle is on its last leg. And pull through. So you can see it there in the middle. Pull one side of the thread. I got it right in the first try. And get my X-Acto knife. And just pull it across and a little flush cut it. And you can see where I pull it through. And that's how I do a pair of earrings. So I have them go the same direction or any direction you want, because it's really your preference on what you're doing. It doesn't really matter, the design. I just kind of make stuff up as I go along. I don't really have a plan. And this one here is very pretty. It's symmetrical. This one here, same thing. Just a bigger pattern. 2 different earrings designs, but still the same. Actually, kind of brighten this light up. So you can see the blue in that one. Very nice. It works. It did take me about a good 4 hours to do one side, or one pair, but right now it's 5 o'clock, almost 6 my time. I started this morning at 9, had to do a bunch of stuff. So normally I can do maybe 2 pairs of these, but since I had to take care of family and stuff today, I did 1 pair and I did it for YouTube. So these are already sold and they're off to his buyer. This will be something else. Don't worry about that right now. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and until next time, bye.